My memo tonight could well have been written from an amusement park bench somewhere in Seoul or Daegu or even Busan in South Korea. But it comes from my Nairobi desk because it is just as well inspired by an event that took place in the Far East Asian nation today. As a Kenyan, you may not have believed it, but a South Korean Supreme Court sentenced a former president of the Republic of South Korea to a 17-year jail sentence for corruption and bribery. You'll now have to believe it when the Supreme Court upholds a sentence in exactly the same terms. Two things stand out for me. One, this is a president. Former, you may say, but you know in Kenya the name president is pronounced in capital letters. President ordinarily, and especially in Kenyan terms, is a revered person, a human who was one time above the law, and for the sycophantic, a demigod, something of an assistant almighty. I mean, it gets close to the blasphemous. Now, that level of elevation means president and prison cannot be in the same sentence in any sphere of the Kenyan life. It should be pointed out also that in the Kenyan context, presidents do no wrong. So judgment and sentencing to prison does not even arise. But it should be pertinent to indicate that it is not necessarily about the president in Kenya. It is about the big man, any big man. It could be a governor, it could be a cabinet secretary, it could be a senator, or even a head of a parastatal. The lesson coming out of South Korea is that all are equal under the law. Hierarchy does not count. Crime does. And the lessons from South Korea are relevant to Kenya because corruption and bribery are a great impediment to national economic growth. Corruption has variously been described as a cancer in the social fabric of the Kenyan society. But the rhetoric rarely pays attention to the real obstacle, the inability of Kenyan society to hold the culprits accountable, as has just happened in South Korea. Fellow Kenyans, our record in fighting official corruption is at best flimsy and very thin. The statistics of corruption convictions in Kenya are hardly anything to be proud of or flaunt as evidence of fighting official corruption. Prosecution and conviction remains a success story only in the lower ranks. Chicken thieves, cattle rustlers, handbag snatchers, and other petty offenders have always been dispatched, sometimes for good, at a rate that only illustrates that in Kenya, offenders even of the same crime are not equal. 17 years in jail for a former president is in itself a deterrent for corruption and bribery in South Korea. It is a statement of equality under the law for all citizens. Big man does not count in South Korea. All men are women, and women are equal under the law. This perhaps explains why South Korea, a nation that was once poorer than Kenya, is today a global giant. Sometimes, fellow Kenyans, it takes small things like commitment to the rule of law. And that is my memo.